Hi guys, Paul Pluta channel, and thank you for watching the premium watch review channel, the Paul Pluta channel. And today I've got a very interesting paid review. So remember, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Remember, man cannot live on Google Ads alone. And my good friend Dr. Sprague from Bangor, Maine has put a special postcard on the fridge. Thank you so much. Here we go. Archie, how are you, pal? My name is James. I'm 24 years old and I live in Chicago. I love watches and I particularly like the finer watches. And I will have an amazing collection one day. I'm reaching out because 2 years ago my grandfather gifted to me a Rolex Daytona reference 6265. I am very grateful. I've had the watch appraised by 2 different people and the worth is quite high. Say, if you feel fit, 50 to 70,000 US dollars. This is a pre-Daytona, meaning the word Daytona is nowhere on the dial. I like the watch a lot, but where do I go from here? I'm not selling because this is a kick-ass watch for anyone to have in their collection, especially it feels cool to rock a watch at a party that is nicer than all of the adults in the room being a 24-year-old. As tradition holds in my family, when we turn 25, we get a Rolex of our choosing. Help me decide, Rolex sub with date or without. I truly like the dateless version the best. The Cyclop date doesn't do it for me. My daily wear is a Breitling Avenger and it is nice, but I just wear it because my brother is letting me borrow it. I do not want a Rolex Explorer 2. It is nice, but not currently my style. I really don't own a daily wear. Please tell me, what would you do with the Daytona if you were me? What sub would you get? Have a Rolex conversation. Your favorite, what Rolex I should get one day other than a sub? Rolex is awesome, right? Your gold sub was awesome. You are an amazing. You are amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Your channel is amazing. And I left you a $40 PayPal donation to keep Archie going full-time on YouTube. Thank you. Take care, buddy. I really have a good time listening to your videos to your advice on watches, and I really hope I don't rub you the wrong way. Haha. Okay. So, can you believe this story? 24-year-old kid. Well, he's a man, isn't he? He's 24. He's an adult. He's got a very early Rolex Chronograph pre-Daytona 6265. Worth 50 to 70,000 US. Yes. What advice do I give? So look, firstly, thank you so much, James, for the email and the kind extra. He gave me a little bit extra too. So hey, yeah, that's fantastic. Look, James, I got to tell you, you got to be number one. Let me give you a few rules. Number one, you got to be damn careful with that watch. See, the ones that are really valuable are the ones that haven't been mucked around with. You got to be very careful who you send that to, especially being a young 24-year-old. You got to be so careful because you take it to the wrong dealer for a service. Even if you send it to Rolex, they could easily swap parts because certain parts in this 6265 are very valuable. For example, the dial, if the dial is a non-service dial. Service dial means when you take the watch in, sometimes they used to change the dials, the little blemish or an improvement, and it became a service dial, which is not technically the dial the watch was sold with. Service dial is not as valuable as a original dial. So you've got to be so careful because someone might do something, and they might do it for 2 reasons. One, they might just not know, like, for example, they could say, oh, these hands look a bit dumb. Let's put a new set of hands on. Now, you want to keep the old original hands. They might do that because they're trying to help you, but they don't realize that the original hands are so valuable. The other reason they could do it is because they're trying to pinch the parts for themselves. Some of these parts are incredibly valuable. So if I were you, I would be very, 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 very careful who you sent it to. Also, Rolex themselves there, I've got to tell you, I know people have sent vintage pieces to Rolex, and there were some horror stories. Rolex is very good at servicing a modern piece. When it comes to vintage, absolute disaster. Never ever send a piece like that to Rolex. They will, one, they'll often not have parts available. They don't know what to do with it. It's like sending a vintage Mercedes to a Mercedes dealer. Yes, for a new S-Class, that's fine. But if you've got a vintage Pagoda, they're not the people. They don't know about a lot of these things. So be very, very, very careful with this piece here. I really wouldn't service. I would be very, very careful what you do with it, because this all makes a big difference. The other thing is, you haven't given me much information, in the sense that you didn't say to me, is the watch box and papers? If I were you, anything your grandfather, I think you said it was your grandfather gave it to you, anything he's got history of the watch, you want to try and build a history file. That really will add to the value of the watch. So if he's got the original receipt, if he's got papers, you got the box, try and get all that stuff for that watch to keep it as perfect as possible. The next thing is security. I'd highly recommend you get a safety deposit box at a leading bank and put it away there, because this is a very, 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 very valuable watch. Now, you haven't given me information as far as your financial situation. I mean, this is a very tricky question. It's a really tricky dicky question. And you're saying to me, what should you do with it? Well, I don't know much about your financial situation. If you are very well off and comfortable, that's one thing. But if you're struggling and, you know, you want to go through college and you want to do certain things, maybe it's good to sell it, and you could use the money to help you in life. This is a really tricky thing. So it's very, without knowing your financial details, it's very, very hard. And even if you are very comfortable, even if you are well off, you've got to say, is it the watch you want to keep there? I would say to you, so what would you do with the Daytona if I were you? If I were you. Okay. Let's have a look. Say you're 24-year-old, say you're a middle-class guy. I would probably, look, you've got to be very careful with this watch, because so many crooks and sharks and charlatans are out there. So I basically would put it in a bank safety deposit box and just think about it. I wouldn't rush into any decision. Don't send it off for servicing or anything like that, because when you do that, there's chance they could change bits. You don't know. You don't know. And I'm not saying people are dishonest, but even sending it to Rolex themselves is no guarantee. In fact, that's probably the last place I would send it, is Rolex themselves there. So I personally, look, it's a great story. It was your grandfather's watch. You haven't quite given me, when did he buy it? You haven't really given me a bit of history, but I take it he bought it years ago. What would I do with that watch? What would I do? That's a very interesting question. You've got to, that's a very tricky thing. It is a super cool watch. Very, very beautiful watch. Don't put it anywhere near water. These things are not waterproof. The seals and that there, I would be inclined, it's too valuable to sort of use, I'm afraid to say. What would I do with it? Look, this is a very tricky thing. You know, I've actually, my own watch collection, I got 6 pieces. 6 pieces. I've got my Patek. Patek is probably, what's my Patek is probably worth, I'll put this in US dollars for you Americans. My Patek is probably worth 24, that's what they sort of sell for, 24,000 US. My Reverso is probably worth, let's put 7. My IWC is 4. My Speedy, they've actually fallen a bit there. We would say, let's put that as, actually we'll come back to that Speedy. The Breguet, we would say was 4, what did I say, 4, what do I say the Breguets were, 4 US, yeah, 6, the Breguet and the Speedy is 6, plus the, my Explorer 2 would be 4, which comes to $44,000, 44,000 US. So my whole collection is less than the value of this wonderful watch you have there. So it is a, it's magnificent. What would I do? It depends. What would I do? Part of me says keep it. It's a great piece to have, but you've got to be so careful. You'd be putting into a safety deposit box. I would be putting safety deposit box. I would be making sure I wouldn't be sending it for service. I just let the thing sit and just think on it. I wouldn't be rushing into anything. Don't be so careful when you send it for repair. They cannot change anything because this will really hurt the value. That's my own opinion there. What would I do with it if I had it? Look, I reckon it's a super grail piece. I personally think it is a superb piece, well worth keeping. Definitely. It depends how you feel on it there. I think it's a magnificent piece to have to pass down. However, you know, I mean, look, that is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You haven't really said how wealthy. I take it you're not really poor if you're getting another Rolex. I think you're upper middle maybe there. Look, I think it's a great thing to keep. It is a great thing. It is a wonderful thing. It's probably best to keep it because let's face it, you sell it, granddad's going to be upset. The money's going to cause problems. Just hang on to it. Just be quiet about it. Don't just be soft on it. That's what I would do. I think it's a great piece. Absolutely stunning piece. Just be very careful what you do with it because so many people will try and pinch parts off you and rip you off. That's the world we live in. It's just the world we live in. What sub should I get? Look, you've answered it yourself there. I mean, the sub, date or no date, they're both cool. They're both really cool. It's like saying, do you get the BMW 5 Series or do you get the Mercedes E-Class? Is there a bad choice? Both really cool. You've answered it yourself. You said you like the no date version. Grab the no date. Grab the no date. That's a really cool piece. Great piece to have. That's a great piece to wear every day there. Now, have a Rolex conversation. Yes. My favorite Rolex. Have a Rolex conversation. Your favorite, my favorite Rolex. What's my favorite? I would have to say, you know, if I could have any Rolex again, without being ridiculous, like I mean, you'd obviously say Platinum Daytona, but if I had to use my own money, so it's gonna hurt, I'd love another gold sub. I really would. That watch was awesome. It was awesome. I really did love that watch there. Absolutely. It wasn't practical, wasn't very usable, but I did love that piece. I love my Patek. I really do love my Patek. So, you know, that's a great piece. My favorite, I love my Polar Explorer 2. I think they're a great watch. I really do think they're great. I also loved, you know, my 18238. I had that I got that in the late 90s. That's nearly 20 years ago. 18238 with cream dial and cream diamond dial. And that was I really loved that watch. Yeah, I really did. That was super cool. I really did love that. What Rolex should you get other than a sub? You know, I think if I were you, I'd possibly be going for, if you're going to keep the Daytona, I'd probably go for you can have a bit of a mixture, pre-ceramic, a sapphire pre-ceramic, a sub-ceramic no date, you know, have some variations there. I reckon you'd have to go GMT, wouldn't you? Some sort of GMT watch. Yeah, that's what you'd have to do. You've struck gold with that 6265 pre-Daytona. That's it's a Cosmograph. It's an amazing, amazing, amazing bit of luck that there. Very, very, very. Rolex is awesome. Yes, yes, it is. It is cool. It is cool. But you know, sometimes you do get a bit bored with Rolex. I mean, as I'm making this video, I'm just looking at my my Breguet on my shelf. And I think, you know, that's such a cool watch. Looking at my Explorer 2 and the ladies' Rolex date, they're both really cool. Yeah, Rolex is awesome. Of course it is. Of course it is. Rolex is very cool. Be very, very careful with that Daytona. No water. No, you got to treat this with kit gloves. I tell you that now. Your gold sub was awesome. Yeah, I think it was. I really love that watch there. So no, I think to be honest with you, this is a great story. You've got a very, I mean, I wouldn't be hard on you if you sold it. If you were to sell it, how would you sell it? Well, the best way to sell that would go to one of the top auction houses, Christie's or Phillips. They do auction every couple of months. I'd put it in that sort of auction. They would authenticate it and they would present it for sale there. That's how you'd sell it. Definitely sell it through an auction like that, a big auction. That's how you'd get top whack for it. Absolutely amazing story. I got to tell you, that is an amazing story. A Rolex 6265. Wow, wow. That is it's an amazing piece. It is amazing. That's a great, you just, you know, it's keep it or sell it. What would you do there? You know, it's a bit like me there. I had a 1016, not in the same league as a 6265, but you know, you have a chance on these things there. I mean, it depends what you want to do. I personally think maybe best to just keep it, because it's not going to upset the family. But the problem is, don't sell it and buy depreciating things like a car. It's tempting when you say, look, maybe buy a house or a condo with it. You know, you think, ooh, that really sets you up for life, doesn't it? But I think there's a lot to be said for keeping it. It is a super cool thing. You're a lucky kid, lucky guy, lucky man. 24 is not a kid, that's a man. So, well done. I'm Paul Pluta, giving a bit of life advice. Tell me what the audience think. What would you do? What would you do if you had something as magnificent as that? Absolutely stunning. Paul Pluta for the Paul Pluta channel. Tell me what you guys think of that.